Hey guys, Ben Beck here for Next Level Radio, bringing you yet again another guest spotlight. This time around, Adam and I had the opportunity to talk to actor and musician Michael Rowe. He talked to us about his reoccurring role as Floyd Lawton, aka Deadshot, on CW's hit show Arrow, which Adam and I are huge fans of. He also told us at Next Level what he did before the show and how he got his start. Make sure you watch Michael on Arrow Wednesdays, 8 o'clock, 7 Central on CW, and check out the explosive season finale this coming Wednesday, May 14th. Check us out, www.nextlevelradioonline.com. Follow us on Twitter at NXTLevelRadio. We encourage you to follow Michael at Captain_Rowe, that's ROWE, and check him out on Facebook, facebook.com/Michael Rowe Deadshot. So as of right now, sit back, relax, and enjoy this interview with Michael Rowe. All right, everybody, welcome to another Next Level Radio. Ooh, my throat's a little scratchy, sorry. Next Level Radio guest spotlight. I am your host, Ben Beck, joined as always by my co-host, Adam Gorey, and our guest tonight. Well, to say we're excited to speak to this gentleman is probably a bit of an understatement. I'm sure if you listen to us on a regular basis on our live show every Sunday night, Adam and I are constantly talking about how we are huge fans of the TV show Arrow on the CW network. We never miss it, and tonight we are joined by another great actor from that show. Please welcome to our program tonight, Mr. Mike Rowe. Mike, I hope it was okay that we called you Mike.
No, it's all good, man. What's up, gang? How you doing?
Yeah, we're doing good. Where are you calling us from tonight? Are you calling from West Coast, East Coast?
Yeah, I'm in Vancouver, BC, Canada.
Oh, okay. Are you from that area, or are you just up there kind of just chilling out?
I'm from a little island in the Atlantic Ocean called Newfoundland.
Oh, okay.
You familiar with that?
I've never been there, but I've learned about it in geography class every once in a while.
Yeah, man. Not a lot of people are familiar with it, but it's a pretty cool place. I grew up there, and I guess I've been living out in Vancouver for about 6 years now.
Okay. Well, so
yeah.
you're pretty close to...
I needed the ocean. I tried living inland before, and it didn't work for me. I need the ocean.
Yeah, we're the same way. I mean, I
went coast to coast.
We're based out of Philly, so we're not far from the ocean. We're not right on it, but we're close enough.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, so you're pretty close to where you shoot the show then, too, aren't you?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of why I got the job. They because they work in this area, the union says that they got to use some local talent. So I weaseled my way in for an audition.
Gotcha. So for our people that are listening right now, obviously they're probably tuning in because they're fans of you, they're fans of the show. But for anybody who might be listening who's not familiar, can you give us a little bit of a rundown both about the show and your character Deadshot that's on the show?
Yeah, man. Well, Arrow is about this rich kid, Oliver Queen, who got lost at sea. His family thinks he's dead, and he isn't. He's on an island, and he's having the time of his life, learning all how to kick some ass, battling good against evil, and he comes back to his home, Starling City, sort of back from the dead, vows to right all the wrongs left by his father, and clean up his town. And there's a long list of bad dudes that run around Starling City. One of them being Floyd Lawton, who's Deadshot, the character I play. He's the best sniper in the world. Got a real bad attitude. He doesn't really play nice with anybody. And so they meet up in episode 3 of the first season, and get shot in the face with an arrow.
I was really excited when your character came in because I know Deadshot a little bit more from the Batman lore than the Arrow lore, the Green Arrow lore. But your character kind of every once in a while balances that line between villain and more the anti-hero, because sometimes he will do things that are good, but more likely it's usually when it's something that'll benefit him.
Yeah.
So I mean,
he's a selfish prick, but he's not a monster. He's not out to. He's got the reasons everything's motivated by something, and he kind of has a code. So he's not just evil and looking to ruin everybody constantly and just like demolish everything in his wake. He's got a specific method to his madness.
Yeah, he's a gun for hire, no matter who's doing the hiring. So
exactly.
So he's a villain with charisma. I can definitely say that.
Cool, man.
Now, how did you get cast as Deadshot? Was it something that was just like an open audition, or anything like that?
Well, I mean, I've heard a lot of sort of theories and rumblings from different people in the cast and crew and stuff like that. So what I can put together in my own head from the bits and pieces that I heard from people is that they kind of had a guy in L.A. that they were going to fly in for the gig. But, like I said earlier, because it's a locally filmed show, they have to audition a certain amount of local talent. So this was a small role in that first appearance. He only had like a couple of lines. He was definitely a presence in the episode. He did a lot of fighting, a lot of killing, a lot of shooting, stuff like that. Yeah. But they decided to check out a couple of local actors. And to be honest, man, I was fresh out of acting school. I'd only been to one audition before this in my life, but my agent managed to talk me up and get me an audition. And so I didn't have a lot to go on. I had one line that I had to say, and the rest was just like putting together my rifle and getting ready to kill some dudes. So I just like thought about it, and I was like, man, this role seems really cool. But they had told me it's just an army sniper named Finn was the character I was going in for. So I just knew it was on a new show called Arrow, and Arrow was a superhero, but I thought I was just going to be this badass army sniper. So I started thinking about what I'm going to do, and I just said, you know what, I'm gonna just regiment this sort of routine that this guy does every time before he gets ready to kill somebody, so that he puts himself in the same mindset, you know, kind of like a professional athlete, what they do before a game or a fighter before a match, you know, just to get themselves psyched up. And so I went in and I did the audition, and I didn't think it was anything special, but then they gave me a call back, and the second time was for the director of the episode. Guy B was directing this episode, and so he was there the second time. And, I mean, usually, I don't know if other actors are like this, but usually as soon as I leave an audition, I got all these other ideas. I'm like, oh, damn it, I should have done this, I should have done that, this is a great idea, I screwed it up. So I go back, and I'm doing it again for Guy B, and I say, I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to keep firing people. I'm going to keep reloading my gun. I'm just going to, like, keep the scene going as long as I can until somebody tells me to stop. So I just go for it, man, and it keeps going, and it's like kind of a lot of dead air in the room, and then the director starts laughing, and I was like, oh shit, man, that's not good. And so he goes, oh, I'm sorry, Michael, that was just really intense, dude. Like I had to start laughing. I didn't know what to do, and so then he asked me if I have any tattoos, and I thought that was a weird question, and I didn't know why. And so I walked out, and then I noticed when I was signing out in the lobby that the other guy that was there for Finn was covered in tattoos. And there's only me and him there for the callback. So I'm like, either they want tattoos or they don't want tattoos. But, you know, one of us is going to get this gig based on whether we have tattoos or not. So I honestly think, yeah, you know, after I got it, I was like, wow, such a small thing can change your life. It's so strange. Like, yeah. I'm not saying I didn't have a decent audition or whatever, but, you know, I think they couldn't give the job to the other guy. He was covered in tattoos. And so then I speak to the stunt team, and this was the best part. This guy calls me, and he's like, is this Michael Rowe? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, do you work at Spartacus Gym? Because I work at my buddy's gym on the weekends. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, man, I showed up to work today, and I got your picture on my desk. And I'm like, who is this? He's like, James Bamford. I'm the fight coordinator for Arrow, and you just got hired as to play a character. And I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. And then he's like, I was so confused because I was expecting this guy to fly in from L.A. And I show up at work today, and I see a picture of the guy that works at my gym on my desk, and I couldn't put it together. So yeah, man, I show up to go to my wardrobe fitting, and everybody's calling me Deadshot, and I'm like, I don't know who you guys are talking about. But I'm here to play some guy named Finn. And then they start showing me, like, the eyepiece and all my weapons and my, you know, wrist mount machine gun and all the comic books. And I'm like, oh, damn it, I know this guy. Are you kidding me? And it flipped me out, man. I gotta say, I was like a kid on Christmas morning.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned James Bamford. We actually got a chance to talk with him a couple months ago. Really cool guy.
No, I love Bam Bam, man. He's awesome.
It's funny because everybody we've talked to calls him Bam Bam when we talk to him too, which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
in the most recent episode, you appeared in Suicide Squad, obviously before the finale. This was a few weeks ago. And even a little bit throughout the past few episodes, Floyd, or Deadshot, has appeared. And the character was able to actually develop a little bit more throughout mostly the second season. And now, as we mentioned before, he's sort of kind of a villain that you like, as odd as it may sound. How did your approach to the role early on, like season 1, differ from how you approach it now?
I mean, the thing that I did right off the bat was I just wanted to dig into the history of the character, into his origins, and figure out what made him tick. There's a reason why somebody acts the way they do, and so that was what I based everything on. I based it on, the true origin of the DC Comics, where Floyd Lawton kills his brother accidentally, trying to take out his abusive father, and that spirals him into, killing his best friend and the guy he looked up to. And so he dedicates himself to becoming the best shot because he doesn't ever want to miss again. And he becomes obsessed with shooting and being perfect. And, just to try to right that wrong throughout his whole life. So I found everything about his history. And then I knew that Arrow was kind of going for something a little bit different. Like, even the way they had it set up with this guy, like, tattooing the names of victims on his body and stuff like that, they were kind of going for something fresh. So I didn't really read a lot of Suicide Squad comics or, like, later Deadshot stuff because I didn't want to end up doing an impression of what I thought Deadshot would be like. I just wanted it to sort of develop organically from the scripts that I was given and the material that I was given to work with. So as they sort of made me a bigger presence on the show and I had more to do, it just kind of evolved from there. And then, I did start reading some of the comic books just more recently, just because, now we're going to the Suicide Squad vein of things, and that's exactly what they started doing in the scripts, is that they started giving little glimmers of what makes this guy tick and why he is the way he is. So then he's not just a monster. He's not just this asshole who's ruining everybody's lives. You get to understand why he is the way he is and how he justifies it in his head. And so, that kind of changes the game a little bit.
Yeah, you do a great job for sure.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
I know that the finale is coming up this Wednesday, and it's probably unlikely that you can tell us anything, but is there any little glimpses of the finale that's coming up that you can give us?
Let's see. Yeah, I guess the best way to put it is, Argus is up to their usual shenanigans. Amanda Waller, she's pretty quick on the trigger. So Diggle has to go and stop them from destroying the city, and he calls on his old buddy Deadshot to give him a hand. So I'm
Awesome.
giving like temporary freedom to sort of engage in another mission.
Awesome. So we're definitely going to see you in the finale then.
Yeah,
That's
definitely
awesome.
going to see me in the finale.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, prior to Arrow, you were involved in a sketch comedy group with a few people, including your brother, called Wild Driver.
Yeah.
Did that help jumpstart your career at all a little bit?
You know what? I was a musician for 10 years, based on the East Coast, and my band broke up. I didn't really know what I was going to do next. I knew my mission's always been to be creative for a living, and my parents were thrilled when I dropped out of university to play full time in a punk rock band. So I had a little. Yeah, man. In hindsight, it's the best thing I ever did. I mean, you can't learn the shit you learn on the road in school.
Yeah.
So I had a younger brother who just moved out here, Andrew, and he's a writer, and he's a damn good writer, and especially with comedy stuff. So he was going to go to school, but instead he took his money and invested it in buying a lot of equipment and a good camera and stuff like that. So I thought I'd come out here and just help him produce some of his scripts that he had. I thought I'd be holding a boom mic or helping him with lighting and stuff like that, but he didn't know any actors, so he needed the crew to act as crew and cast in all this stuff. And dude, the scripts were so bizarre and hilarious to me that I loved it. It was almost like filling the hole that was left from losing my band. You know what I mean? Like hanging out with my friends and especially doing this comedy stuff. We're trying to, like, we're improvising with the script and stuff too, and trying to break each other, trying to make each other laugh. And you know, that was my introduction to acting. I'd never acted in anything in my life. I didn't even do fucking theater arts in high school. So, you know, we did it constantly. I did it for like 2 or 3 years constantly, and then I was like, I got to go see how other people do this. And then eventually I went and did some acting classes in just like a neighborhood teen study kind of group called Actors Foundry, and they taught me a ton of stuff. But to be honest, man, I thought that if I could find an into the industry, it would be doing comedy stuff, because that's what I knew.
Right.
And little did I know that the rest of the industry kind of saw me as this kind of badass type. It was pretty strange to think that you know, I'm this guy with a goofy sense of humor, and you know, I go into auditions and it's always for people beating up their kids or their wives or somebody that's like, you know, just shooting everybody in the head, and it's like, it's crazy. But let me tell you, those roles are really fun to dig into and play. I didn't see it coming. I got
to ask you, with Wild Driver, I saw in a couple of earlier videos you had dreadlocks. Was that real? Did you actually have dreadlocks, or were those fake?
Yeah, man. I had dreadlocks, dude, for almost 10 years.
Wow.
Like I said, I was in a touring band. I didn't want to get haircuts. I just dreadlocks worked. You sometimes you got to drive all night, show up, set up your gear, and play a show. And so dreadlocks was a way to not have to do much with my hair, and also have a pillow anywhere that I wanted to fall asleep. So it worked really well for me.
That's awesome.
I mean, everybody had asked me if I had drugs to sell them or if I really liked reggae music and shit, which neither one was true, but I don't know. It always made for an interesting start of a conversation, I guess.
That's great.
Especially when I was in the Bahamas one time, and those dudes didn't know what to make of me.
All right, well, I know we're running a little short on time. We don't have much time left with you, but we usually like to end our interviews with what we call our rapid-fire questions. Adam will basically just shoot a couple questions at you. They're real simple. You can just answer with the first thing that comes to your head. You don't have to go into any detail about any of them.
All right.
Who's your favorite villain from the comics?
Favorite villain from the comics? Lobo.
Ooh,
okay.
That's a good choice.
If you could be a guest star on another TV show besides Arrow, which show would you want to guest star on?
I would say Walking Dead.
Okay. As a zombie or as a character?
No, as a character.
Okay. Who's your favorite person to follow on Twitter?
Man, I don't go on Twitter a hell of a lot.
You can make it us if you want.
Roddy Piper.
There you go. And in case you want to follow Michael on Twitter, it's at Captain_Rowe. ROWE. And last question for you. Where have you never been that you always wanted to go?
New Zealand. I'm going there in 10 days.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, cool.
That's on my list, too.
Yeah.
A long trip.
Yeah, I know, man. I got a good opportunity to get flown down there for my first Comic-Con.
Oh, very cool.
So it's called Armageddon, and I'm doing a weekend in Hamilton, New Zealand, and then going down south of the North Island to a place called Wellington. And I'm really stoked about it, man. I'm fired up.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
So, all right, well, Michael, we want to thank you for joining us tonight, and we definitely want to encourage people to follow you on Twitter and follow you on Facebook at Captain_Rowe, as Adam had said on Twitter, Facebook.com/Michael Rowe Deadshot, which is an awesome web address for Facebook. We want to encourage everybody to listen to us live every Sunday night, www.nextlevelradioonline.com. And Mike, thanks for joining us tonight.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. It was fun. And I'd just like to tell everybody to buckle up for this finale because it's a wild ride.
Yeah, the finale.
Really
This
it looks killer.
This Wednesday on the CW network, 8 o'clock. 9 o'clock Central. We can't wait. We're so looking forward to it.
8/7 Central.
Oh, 8/7 Central. Did I say 9?
Yeah.
Wow, you'd think I know it. I watch the show every week. So,
Fantastic.
Thanks everybody for listening, and we will see you next time. Thanks a lot.
All right, thanks, guys. Take care.